Undertale, the little indie game that has taken over the big bad internet, at the time this video was made anyway. Many people assume I'd love this game, but they couldn't be more wrong. I've tried playing it after being urged to, and I couldn't stand it. This video is here to explain why I hate Undertale. Now, before we go any further, I'd like to say that if you love the game, great. I'm not taking that away from you. I'm not trying to change your mind about it either. But unfortunately, I'm not you, and the game didn't click with me at all. There are plenty of people out there who also love Undertale, and it's had a crap load of praise already, way more than it deserves, I'd say. So does it really matter if I don't feel the same way? Okay, let's go! If you haven't heard about the game before, you have no idea how much I envy you. Undertale is advertised as the RPG where you don't have to kill anyone. Your character falls into an underground world full of monsters and you must make your way out. The game was heavily inspired by Nintendo's Mother/Earthbound series, and that's a problem for me right from the start. I have never been a fan of those games either. I think they have some of the most boring and shallow RPG gameplay of all time. I finished Mother 3, but there were times when it was utter torture to play. You may think that since I made a lot of creepy bad ending videos where I discuss the stories of games in big detail, I'm the sort of person who thinks the plot is the most important aspect of a game. Nothing could be further from the truth. Gameplay almost always comes first for me. If the game isn't much fun to play, then I'm not going to want to put myself through it just to read a story, am I? Undertale's gameplay is a bit more fun than the Mother game's gameplay, I'll give it that, but it's not nearly enough to hold my interest. Compared to the average RPG, there's not really any depth to it at all, and for the most part it's so easy you don't have any reason to put much thought into playing. Sparing an enemy isn't barely any more complex than killing it, so in the end it just comes down to choice rather than adding much in the way of difficulty. You won't have much health if you spare everything, sure, but it's still an easy game. I admit that the way you can avoid enemy attacks is a rather cool idea, but only the bosses throw anything particularly interesting at all with this system, and most of them aren't any problem to beat for various reasons. Tori will actually try to direct her attacks away from you when you have low health. Papyrus won't kill you even if he beats you, and I don't think the true final boss can even kill you. There's only one boss in the game that could be a challenge, and you can only fight him in the route for the worst ending. I get the message that fans of gameplay, such as myself, aren't welcome here. Okay, so that's my problems with the battle system, but the gameplay in the overworld is even worse. The puzzles you'll need to solve are so simple, boring and mindless, I'd prefer if they weren't there at all. I've completed them millions of times elsewhere, I don't want to waste any more time on them. Either give me something tougher or more inventive, please. But although I prefer good gameplay, I'm not necessarily against more story-driven games. After all, I love the Ace Attorney games, the plot is pretty much the gameplay there. I also love the Telltale games, especially The Walking Dead. They don't have tons of gameplay, but it's enjoyable enough to keep me playing, and the story and characters are fantastic. With Undertale, I'm afraid the story does nothing for me. I'd go as far as saying I dislike it more than the gameplay. Now this might be a weird thing to say, but for me, one of the most important aspects of a game is its personality. What do I mean by that? Well, it's basically that if the game was a person, would they have the sort of personality I'd like and find interesting? If Undertale was a person, it would most likely be a Tumblr user, in other words, someone I wouldn't get on with at all. You know the sort, the overly excitable social justice warrior who thinks it's hilarious to write in all caps and type out stuff like talking to them would make me grind my teeth into dust. And that's exactly the effect the majority of the characters in this game have on me. I have nothing against caricatures, but annoying caricatures are a different story. I get it, Papyrus is an idiot and none of these traps work. You don't have to bore me with a million cutscenes showing this. The game gives off this internet savvy vibe that I don't appreciate, and nowhere is this more apparent with the characters Sans, Temmie and Aphis. The fact Sans uses the word ugh, whelp regularly is enough to make me hate him and the game. Temmie uses Leech style speech that wasn't funny over 10 years ago, and as for Aphis, yuck, can't stand her. I hate how we're supposed to find male nerds like Francis from Super Paper Mario disgusting, but we're supposed to find female ones like Aphis adorable. But this isn't the time to go into that. Actually, come to think of it, I don't even hear people who like the game talk about her much. Maybe no one likes her. Wouldn't surprise me. How am I supposed to feel bad about killing these characters when I find them so annoying? Of course the game doesn't even let you kill Ethis anyway. What a rip-off. And you know what? These monsters were trying to kill me as well. Why should I feel bad for trying to defend myself? It doesn't matter if they're frightened or whatever. If something attacks me, I'm going to have to stop them somehow. Even looking past all of this, I don't think the story is all that good anyway. A lot of people talk about how emotional it becomes, especially during the best ending, but to me it's mawkish in such an obvious and cheesy way it fails to have any effect. There have been plenty of games that have affected me emotionally. Just look at all the times I've talked about Breath of Fire 2, but that game didn't try too hard like Undertale does. And in the end, it's essentially yet another friendship is magic lesson. God, I'm sick and tired of seeing this nonsense now. How many more times do we have to be lectured about this? How about a story where the hero tries to save the day, only his friends keep getting in his way and he has to learn to do something by himself for a change? How refreshing would that be? If anything, I think all these types of lessons in popular media just make everyone feel worse for not being more social. But worse yet, I strongly disagree with the game's attempt to deconstruct the typical RPG or leveling up in general. To me, the single most rewarding aspect of them is gaining EXP and getting stronger and stronger. It keeps you playing and wondering how much more powerful you and your opponents will become, and forever looking forward to whatever exciting new weapons or abilities you'll get in future. So here we have you, Undertale, trying to tell us that we should feel bad to enjoy this type of gameplay. Fuck you! It's bad enough you tried to tell everyone off for defending themselves, now you're telling us off for having fun? Get out of here! In fact, in a genocide route where you kill everyone you can, you have to level grind to kill off all the random encounter monsters. It's not much fun to do, but I believe it's meant to be a commentary on how level grinding is boring. So, there's a part of the game that is made deliberately dull to get its message across. Aren't video games designed to be fun? Well, I think that's all my major problems with the game covered. In my opinion, Undertale is an annoying, pretentious, boring game. Now, I hope it's clear to everyone that I don't like it. And with that, ta-ta!